اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين خالق السماوات والأرضين. الحمد لله الذي بعث أنبياءه بالحق والهدى ثم ختمهم بحبيبه المصطفى. الحمد لله الذي جعل إكمال ديننا وإتمام نعمته بولاية المرتضى. الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. ثم الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين حبيب إله العالمين بالقاسم محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين. أما بعد، فقد قال الله في كتابه وقوله الحق بعد نقول أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. يا أيتها النفس المطمئنة ارجعي إلى ربك راضية مرضية فادخلي في عبادي وادخلي جنتي. صدق الله العلي العظيم. صلاة على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. My elders, brothers and sisters in Iman and Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Yesterday we spoke about the reason why Abu Abdullah salawatullah wa salamu alayhi felt that it was necessary for him to take that step against Yazid. Why he felt that he had to, so to say, put his foot down. Why he had to, as you would say, lift off the veil of the face of Bani Umayyah. We mentioned that there was a project of Bani Umayyah using the old power that they had from the days of pre-Islamic Arabia, that they had connections with the tribes between Mecca and Jordan and Damascus, the connections that they had with all these tribes, and the connections that they had with the elite in Damascus. They used these connections to strengthen their position in the Islamic world, making an empire within the empire, and then after that removing Ahlul Bayt from their position in their rightful place. Not only that, they then used this position to start making or meddling into theology. So they wanted to say what is right Islam, what is wrong Islam. They wanted to propose to people how to believe in God. They wanted to propose to people how to believe in the Prophet. They wanted to propose to people how to believe in the Sahaba, to rank the Sahaba in this way or that way. All these things that they started to do when Abu Abdullah goes out against Yazid and says that I will rather give my head than submit to you. He makes sure that a line is drawn to make sure that after that no other Khalifa or king or sultan or whatever it might be can come and say that Islam will be as I say Islam is. Attempts were made, no doubt. Attempts were made, but Imam Hussain made it very difficult. And he awoke the soul of the Muslims. One thing that we might not know of is that because of the names that we hear, that when Imam Hussain is asked to give bay'ah, there are two other names asked for bay'ah as well. Abdullah ibn Zubayr and Abdullah ibn Umar. Amongst them, Abdullah ibn Umar, he gives bay'ah. He feels that it is better to give bay'ah than to create discord amongst the Muslims or in the community. Abdullah ibn Zubayr doesn't. He also leaves for Mecca. When he leaves for Mecca, he creates a counter khilafah in Mecca. So those people who say that there has always been a khilafah, the khilafah of Bani Umayyah, it was not the khilafah of Bani Umayyah totally. The khilafah of Bani Umayyah was disturbed by the khilafah of Zubayr, of Abdullah ibn Zubayr and the Zubayrids. So his relatives then had this khilafah going. Bani Umayyah tried to stop them. This was the reason why Yazid sent his forces to Mecca. So remember, Yazid, after coming to power, he did 3 great mistakes, or 3 great sins. The first great sin of Yazid was, of course, the killing of Abu Abdullah and Ahlul Bayt. The second big mistake or sin of Yazid was that he had Medina, because the people of Medina, they went to Damascus. They went to Damascus to see, who is this Yazid? We hear that he killed Hussain. Who is this Yazid? Why is he behaving like this? As a delegation goes to Damascus to meet Yazid, to see how he behaves, to see what he does, to see how he replies to the allegation. And they come back to Medina and they say, this man cannot have our bay'ah. So they break their allegiance, and then Yazid sends an army to Medina to defeat these people and to bring them back to the fold, so to say. And the third is then the Zubayrids, the Khilafah of the Zubayrids. The third year he attacks Mecca and he dies before the attack is fulfilled. There is an attack, but he's not able to see it through. When the news comes that Yazid has died, the army withdraws and goes back. But then there are other movements that stand up. Bani Abbas, when they come to power, they also say that one of the things we want to do is what? We want to seek revenge for what happened in Karbala. So the death of Abu Abdullah sets things in motion in a way that could not have been done before that. But Imam Hussain, when he rises against Bani Umayyah, it is not for political power. This is one of the great mistakes that people, again, we mentioned this yesterday, that some people, they analyze Imam Hussain and they say that the reason why Imam Hussain rose up was because he wanted to become Khalifa. Because his father had been Khalifa, now he feels that it is his turn. Why is Muawiyah appointing Yazid? He should become the Khalifa. No, Imam Hussain is that tranquil soul. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and this surah, Suratul Fajr in Quran, Suratul Fajr, sometimes we call it the surah of Hussain. Why? Because the ayah, the ending ayat of Suratul Fajr, one of the best misdaq. Misdaq means a realization of something. So when we say that he's a misdaq of that, what we are saying is that there are other nafs, there are other nufus, there are other souls that are mutma'inna as well. He's not the only one who reaches to the point of mutma'inna. Before him Rasulullah, before him Imam Ali, before him Fatimatul Zahra, before him Imam Hassan salawatullah wa salamu alayhim ajma'in. They all reach that position. But Imam Hussain is given a shahada, he gives a testimony of him being on that level with the highest, with the greatest trials surrounding him in a way that none before him was able to show. So he's called that misdaq of Suratul Fajr. Ya ayyatuha nafsul mutma'inna, that soul that is tranquil. What makes him that tranquil soul? What makes Imam Hussain that example for us that we should look towards him? Today we want to look at some aspects of the life of Imam Hussain. I will mention some highlights from his life. Many of them, or some of them, you know of. Especially those during the time of Rasulullah, we are aware of. But beyond that, we want to look at highlights from his life after the life of Rasulullah, but before the events of Karbala. Now, during the life of Rasulullah, there are many highlights we could mention. The best example of which that shows the high position of Imam Hussain is, of course, Hadith Kisa. When Rasulullah gathers Lady Fatima and Imam Hassan and Imam Hussain and Amirul Mu'mineen under a garment, and he says, Allahumma ha'ulai ahlu bayti. Why is this important? This event is important because till today people will tell us that Ahlul Bayt are not those that you believe is Ahlul Bayt. You see, linguistically, Ahlul Bayt means people of the house. And linguistically, or in the usage of the Arabs, anyone who belongs to the house, whether it is a family member, it is a slave of the house, it is a pet of the house, everyone is Ahlul Bayt. Everyone is Ahlul Bayt. But contextually, you have to ask the person who is talking, who do you mean by Ahlul Bayt? Wives are definitely, linguistically, they are included in Ahlul Bayt. Linguistically. But contextually, you have to ask, who do you, when you say Ahlul Bayt, when Allah says, إِنَّمَا يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ لِيُذْهِبَ عَنْكُمُ الرِّجْسَ أَهْلَ الْبَيْتِ وَيُطَهِّرَكُمْ تَطْهِيرًا, that Allah only wishes to remove all impurities from you, Ahlul Bayt, and He wants to purify you thoroughly. We have to ask Allah, oh Allah, when the Prophet has a horse or has a camel, is that horse and camel also included? Linguistically, he is included. The camel is included. Linguistically, the cats that visit the house of Rasulullah will be included. Linguistically, Usama bin Zayd will be included. Who is Usama bin Zayd? We'll speak. Or Zayd bin Haritha will be included. Who are they? Zayd bin Haritha was the adopted son of Rasulullah. The Rasulullah raised Zayd bin Haritha in his own home. He was the adopted son. He was called Zayd bin Muhammad. Until Allah revealed Surah Al-Ahzab. When Allah revealed Surah Al-Ahzab, He says, do not call your adopted children as your own, but give them their father's names. At that point, Zayd was no longer called Zayd bin Muhammad, but he belonged to the household of Rasulullah. He was a close member of that. He was a part of the inner circle of Rasulullah's house. Who do you mean, Ya Allah? So how does Allah reply? He replies by His messenger. His messenger collects these four people. He puts them himself as the fifth, and he says, Allahumma ha'ula'i ahlul bayti. Oh Allah, these are my ahlul bayt. And as if it could not get any clearer, Salama, the wife of Rasulullah, comes and says, Ya Rasulullah, wa ana ma'akum, can I come in and be with you? He says, Inti ala khair, anti ala khair. You are on a good position. Walakin these people, these are my ahlul bayt. So this is one of the events which shows the high position of Abu Abdullah. The next, again, we see these five collected on the day of Mubahila. We just celebrated the Eid of Mubahila. When Rasulullah is going out to meet the Christians of Najran, who does he bring with him? He brings Amirul Mu'mineen, he brings Lady Fatima, Imam Hassan and Imam Hussain. Again, this shows the high position of Abu Abdullah. Then there are other, and these things are every, Shias and Sunnis are all in their sources agreed upon. Then there are other things which are mentioned in the sources. Again, this is also from the Ahlul Sunnah. Al-Hasan wal-Husayn sayyad shababi ahli al-Jannah. Al-Hasan wal-Husayn sayyad shababi ahli al-Jannah. I remember, I'm not sure if you know about Maulana Ishaq Faisalabadi. Some of you might have heard of him. Maulana Maulana worked very much about trying to get Sunnis and Shias together. And he was once asked about the birth of Amirul. Now, the issue with Maulana Ishaq Faisalabadi, his problem was that if something was not there in the Sunni sources, accepted Sunni sources, he did not accept it. If it's not there in the Sahih Sitta, for example, or it's not authenticated by Albani, he doesn't accept it. But he wants Sunnis and Shias to be united. So he was asked, is it true what the Shia say, that Amirul Mu'mineen was born in the Kaaba? Now this is there in Sunni sources as well, but it is not authenticated by all of their scholars. So he says, no, it is not true. We don't have this in our, but he says Amirul Mu'mineen, he says Imam Ali doesn't need this merit. Imam Ali does not need this merit. Why? He says, because Rasulullah says, Al-Hasan wal-Husayn sayyad shababi ahli jannah wa abuhuma khayrun minhuma. That Rasulullah says, Al-Hasan and Hussain, they are the leaders of the youth of paradise, and their father is better than them. Their father is better. He says, why do you want Imam Ali to be born in the Kaaba when he has this merit, that he is better than the leaders of the youth of paradise? Of course, our reply is that we are not saying it is a merit for Ali that he is born in the Kaaba. It is a merit for the Kaaba that Ali is born there. So this is one of the things that Rasulullah says, everyone, this is agreed upon. Another riwayah, Husaynu minni wa ana min Hussain. Hussain is from me, which is obvious. Rasulullah says, Hussain is from me. Wa ana min Hussain. I am from Hussain. meaning the mission of Hussain, the actions of Hussain, the life of Hussain confirms the life of Rasulullah. Now when someone comes and says that Hussain did ijtihad and there were senior Sahaba telling him that don't go and he should have listened to them, but Hussain had made up his mind, but he should have listened to all these people telling, Habibi, Rasulullah said, Hussainu minni wa ana min Hussain. Hussain does what I tell him to do, and what he does is what I tell him to do. We are interconnected. My actions and his actions are interconnected. Ahabballahu man habba Husayna. God loves the one who loves Hussain. Hussainu sibtum min al-asbat. Hussain is his special grandchild amongst grandchildren. Then again, you have in the Sunni narrations that one day Rasulullah is sitting on the minbar as he is preaching. Hassan and Hussain, they come into the masjid. He's sitting on the minbar. He's talking with people. As he's talking with the people, Hassan and Hussain, they are small children, they come into the mosque. He interrupts his khutbah. He goes down. He brings his two children up to him and he caresses them. He kisses them. He shows how much he loves them in front of the people. This is not something that you do for anyone. He wants people to know. And in our sources, you have him saying, هَذَا الْحُسَيْنُ فَعَرِفُوهُ. He says, this is Hussain, so know him. This is one thing to show people this is Hussain. He says, no, this is Hussain, you have to know who he is. And then the hadith says, Ya ayyuhan nas, هذا Hussain ibn Ali فَعَرِفُوهُ فَوَالَّذِي نَفْسِ بِيَدِهِ إِنَّهُ لَفِي الْجَنَّةِ. Hussain is in Jannah. Now this, I want to be very clear, this is in our sources. This is not in the Sunni sources. Hussain is in Jannah. وَمُحِبِّيهِ فِي Jannah. Those who love Hussain are in Jannah. وَمُحِبِّي مُحِبِّيهِ فِي الْجَنَّةِ. And those who love the lovers of Hussain are in Jannah. Those people who attach themselves to the people who love Hussain, they will also be in Jannah, inshallah. Of course, everything comes with their conditions. Then we move on to after the death of Rasulullah to the time of the Khulafa. There is an event, again this is now reported in the books of Ahl Sunnah. Why do I keep on coming back and telling you that this is in the books of Ahl Sunnah? Because I want you to know that what we are saying is not something that is a Shia story made up. I want you to understand, although I also want to be very clear that they might have their own interpretation of things. They will understand things in a different way, but it is there, and this hadith, this riwayah that I'm going to mention, it is authenticated by their scholars. It is mentioned that one day when Umar ibn al-Khattab is sitting on the minbar, Imam Hussain comes into the masjid. He stands up in front of Umar ibn al-Khattab. He's a child. He's still a child. He stands up in front of Umar ibn al-Khattab. He says, Anzil ala minbari abi. He says, get down from the minbar of my father. He says, get down from the minbar of my father. Now, the people of the Sunnah, they will say, Abi here means Rasulullah. That Imam Hussain is referring to the messenger. He's saying the messenger is my father. We understand no. When he says Abi, now he's talking about Amirul Mu'mineen. He says, get down from the minbar of my father. Umar looks at him. He says, get down from the minbar of my father and go on the minbar of your own father. Imam Hussain says, get down from the minbar of my father and go up on the minbar of your own father. Umar looks at him and says, but my father has no minbar. My father has no minbar. Then he looks at Hussain. He says, who taught you this? Who taught you this knowledge? Where did you get this knowledge from, that this is the minbar of your father and not my father? Hussain looks at him and he says, no one taught me this. No one had to teach me that this is not your minbar nor the minbar of your father. So this knowledge comes to me from, meaning saying, if no one taught me, this knowledge comes to me from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. These points from the life of Imam Hussain shows that he has this sense of belonging and sense of what is right and wrong from an early age. He does not abandon truth. That doesn't mean that they say we have to go fight people. That doesn't mean that he says that we have to now start talking to people that we are going to gather armies against you. No, but to speak about truth is important. Comes the time of Khalifa Uthman. When Uthman is the Khalifa, remember back, we go back to yesterday. Yesterday we mentioned that Uthman said that during the time of Uthman, he would appoint his cousins. He would appoint his relatives as governors throughout the empire. Again, the Ahl Tasannun, they will explain it. They will say that he needed people that he could trust. He needed people that he felt, I can trust these people, that they will do the job. I can trust that they will collect the taxes, they will govern the way I want them to govern, whatever the reason might be. We are not here to go into the niyat of people. We are not going in here to see what is the intentions of people. We see the results. The result was that people were disappointed. People came to Medina saying what? We don't like these people you appointed. One of them is a drunkard. Another one of them collects all the taxes and keeps them for himself. And all different kind of complaints. So they come to Medina and they complain about these governors. Before they come and complain about the governors, Abu Dharr is one of the companions of Rasulullah. Now I know my elders know this, but I need to mention so that the children, to make sure that they are with me, they understand what we are saying. Abu Dharr is one of the earliest companions of Rasulullah. He's not a late companion. He is one of those people who joined Rasulullah during the days in Mecca. He became a Muslim and he was so strong in his Islam that he would take every opportunity to preach that there is La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. He was very strong with this, and he was one of those who stuck with Amirul Mu'mineen come what may. Whatever might happen, he stuck with Amirul Mu'mineen. He never left the side of Amirul Mu'mineen. Abu Dharr was also a man who hated the fact that the Muslims after Rasulullah had become more interested in the dunya. So he would complain. He would go to the people in Medina and he would remind them, because when the Muslims conquered these lands, one of the things that happened was that wealth started to come in towards the Baytul Mal, towards the treasury in Medina. And the wealth was then distributed according to systems that first Umar ibn al-Khattab made, and then the Bani Umayyah made, Uthman made. They had systems of how to divide the wealth. One of the things that Imam Ali salawatullah wa salamu alayhi changed, which made people dislike him, was the fact that whenever property came in, whenever wealth came in, he would distribute everything equally. He wouldn't care. You are an Arab, you are a non-Arab. Doesn't matter. Everyone gets equally. You are a free one, you are everyone gets equally. It doesn't matter. You became Muslim early, you became Muslim, everyone gets equally. The people who were benefiting from the times of Umar and Uthman, they disliked the fact that Amirul Mu'mineen was treating everyone equal. And so a lot of people, the reason why they started to hate Imam Ali was because of this. They felt that why are we not being given what we were given earlier? Tayyib, Abu Dharr, he sees the people of Medina, the Sahaba of Rasulullah, they are given to dunya. They fall in love with this dunya. So he starts complaining, he starts preaching, he starts telling them don't do this. He is first sent from Medina to Damascus. From Damascus, he is sent to, so he keeps on preaching there in the city, in the areas of Sham. He is sent to Lebanon. And according to some narrations, some riwayat, he is the first person to preach the Shi'ism, to preach the Tashayyu, to preach the love of Ahlul Bayt in Lebanon. This is Abu Dharr. Still to these people, the people of Lebanon, they will tell you that we became Shia because our ancestors listened to Abu Dharr and became Shias. May Allah protect the people of Lebanon and keep them safe, inshaAllah. So Abu Dharr is then being sent, because now they see that whenever Abu Dharr goes, this is one of the problems, you know, of the Shias of Ali. Wherever they go, they keep the name of Amirul Mu'mineen high, and they mention Amirul Mu'mineen. And if you don't like justice and you don't like the dignity that Islam gives to every single human being, you will not like the name of Amirul Mu'mineen. So now you have to silence Abu Dharr. So Abu Dhar is sent back to Medina. As he comes back to Medina, again people don't like him. You Abu Dhar, you keep on going, you keep on going. Now here's a difference of interpretation in history. Our brothers of Ahl Tasannun, they will say that Abu Dhar was asked to leave Medina again and sent to a desert called Rabada. So they say he was asked, kindly, please, for your own sake, this is difficult for you to see all these things, so please leave. Khair. This is their interpretation. I want to be very careful. I'm not trying to make fun of anyone. If that sounds like that, I'm very sorry. That's not my intention. I'm trying to tell you that the same event is being looked at in different ways. In the Shia sources, it's very clear he is not being asked gently to leave, he's being thrown out. He is not only is he thrown out, people are being told, don't speak with Abu Dhar. We don't want you to speak with Abu Dhar. He's leaving Medina, don't go and speak with him. A few people still went and spoke with Abu Dhar. Amongst them, Amirul Mu'mineen, Imam Hassan, Imam Hussain, Ammar ibn Yasir. These people, they went to Abu Dhar as he is departing Medina. Imam Hussain addresses Abu Dhar. He says, Ya Amma, O my uncle, Inna Allah qadirun an yughayyira ma qad tara, Wallahu kulla yawmin huwa fi sha'an. He says, O Allah, O uncle, indeed Allah is capable of changing what you see, and every day He's bringing about a matter. Every day He's doing something. He's changing things. The people denied you their worldly life. Not that Abu Dhar was asking for a part of it. Abu Dhar was telling them to leave this worldly life. He says, the people denied you their worldly life, and you denied them your religion. They tried to buy you. They try to give you money as well. So this is Imam Hussain speaking now. Imam Hussain is analyzing the situation. Says they wanted to buy your loyalty. The saying goes, everyone has a price. Mention your price. What was the price of Abu Dhar? They couldn't buy him. They tried to buy your religion. You denied them. How independent you are of what they denied you, and how in need they are of what you denied them. They were in need of religion. They were in need of guidance. You didn't. You tried to give them, but they are deprived. So ask Allah for patience and victory, and seek refuge in Him from greed and anxiety, for patience is a part of religion and nobility. Patience is a part of deen and karama. Truly, greed does not bring forward any sustenance, and anxiety does not delay one's appointed time. Being anxious about this will not change your death. Death is to come when it will come. Abu Dhar then leaves and he dies in that desert of Rabada. He dies in that loneliness. But the point here is what? That Imam Hussain, whether it is during the time of Umar or it is the time of Uthman, he is constantly observing the situation, whether he is a child or he's a young man. He's observing the situation around him, and he's telling us what is going on. He's telling us what is wrong with the nation. He's telling us where things are headed in the wrong way. Remember yesterday what we said? Umar said what happened in Saqifa was a falta. Guys, remember what does falta mean? Do you remember? What does falta mean?
Like something that went wrong.
Something that went wrong. Yes. What more? There was something else.
Fatal accident.
A fatal accident. It was something that could have consequences that were very dire. Very good. So both of you, very good. Something that could have fatal results. Something that could lead to something that is very terrible. Umar says in Sahih Bukhari, he says what happened in Saqifa was a falta, but God saved us from its evils. Imam Hussain is telling us that what you think God saved us from, we were not saved from all of that. Many things, yes, we were saved from. But other things, the results of what happened, we are seeing now. It's playing out in front of our eyes. The fact that Bani Umayyah is coming to power is a result of Bani Saqifa, or what happened at the house of Saqifa. Of Saqifa of Bani Sa'ad. Tayyib. Then we find Imam Hussain during the time of Amirul Mu'mineen. At that time, you find that Imam Ali has to now fight at Jamal, he has to fight Siffin, he has to fight Nahrawan, and you find that in all these battles, his children are with him. Especially in Jamal, you will find that Imam Hassan and Hussain and Muhammad al-Hanafiya, they are in the front with Amirul Mu'mineen, trying to reach the camel upon which Lady Aisha is sitting. Lady Aisha is the mother of the believers. She's the wife of Rasulullah, but she is leading the army against Amirul Mu'mineen. As she's on that litter, she's on the camel, Imam Ali says, we have to get this camel down. We have to, as long as this camel is standing, the fighting will continue. Jamal means camel. As long as this camel is standing, the fighting will continue. What we need to do is we need to bring the camel down. So he and the others, they try to get to the camel. Amongst them is Imam Hassan and Imam Hussain. As soon as the camel falls, now who is in the camel? Who is sitting on the camel? Aisha, the mother of the believers, the wife of Rasulullah. Who can touch the wife of Rasulullah? If she falls from the camel, she will fall and hurt herself. So now Imam Ali, does he allow the wife of Rasulullah to fall and hurt herself? No. He sends the brother of Aisha, who is the son of Abu Bakr, who is being raised by Imam Ali, is called Muhammad bin Abu Bakr. Muhammad bin Abu Bakr is in the army of Imam Ali. He has already told Muhammad bin Abu Bakr, as soon as the camel falls and Aisha falls off the camel, you go, you are the one who is mahram with her, you go and you protect her. See Imam Ali, the way he is trying to think ahead. One of the things Imam Ali tells us is to organize your affairs, to be 10, 15, 20 steps ahead. One of the things that Shias need to learn is to always plan ahead and to be ahead of the game. So one of the things Imam Ali does is he's ahead of the game. In the battle of Siffin, again you find Imam Hassan and Imam Hussain. Especially Imam Hassan, he's fighting. Some people say Imam Hassan was a coward. Some people have this idea. He did not like fighting. He did not know how to wield the sword, for example. No, you find him, Imam Hassan is fighting the army, he's fighting the enemy, and Imam Ali says, hold him back, because these two children, pointing to Imam Hassan and Hussain, he says, hold him back. Because of these two children, I fear that if something happens to them, I will be the cause for the generation of Rasulullah to be ended from this earth. So you find that these two children were participating with Amirul Mu'mineen. They are completely always on the path of haqq with their father. Even during the time of Imam Hassan, you don't find Imam Hussain disagreeing with Imam Hassan. Imam Hassan has a purpose behind the peace treaty, and Imam Hussain follows along with this. You find then Imam Hussain, now we mention just a few events from his life before we come to an end. He says, Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. One of the facts of Imam Hussein's life is that he goes for Hajj on foot. According to some narrations, about 20 times he travels on foot to Hajj. Although he had camels, he had horses, but he travels on foot. The camels and horses are traveling next to him, but he's walking from Medina on foot to go to Hajj. Why? To be that humble person. He wants to have that humility when he reaches Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Again, you find him in one of his prayers that is reported. So Dua Arafah you heard. This is famous. Everyone recites Dua Arafah every year, inshaAllah wa ta'ala. But there is one small dua that is reported that he recited in the vicinity of the Kaaba. Listen to the humbleness of the Imam. Let's Ilahi an'amta alayya falam tajidni shakiran. Oh Allah, you gave me blessings, then you did not find me thankful. Can you believe that Imam Hussain is not thankful? Imam Hussain is thankful, but what he's voicing here is, I cannot be thankful enough for what you have done for me. Everything that you have given to me, how can I thank you for all of these things? So he says, you did not find me thankful. وَابْتَلَيْتَنِي فَلَمْ تَجِدْنِي صَابِرًا. You put me through trials and you did not find me patient. فَلَا أَنْتَ سَلَبْتَ النِّعْمَةَ بِتَرْكِ الشُّكْرِ. but despite I not being able to thank you, you did not remove your ni'mah. How many times does it not happen in our lives, that we don't recognize the blessings that we have from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that He has given us so much in our life, but we are not thankful. Rather, we complain. We look at the next person. The next person has this. The next person has that. The next person has been given so much property. The next person has been given this job. The next person has this salary. The next person is there in their career. The next person succeeded in this matter. Allah, what did you give me? You gave me so much. And Allah says in the Quran, لَإِن شَكَرْتُمْ لَأَزِدَنَّكُمْ. If you give thanks, if you are thankful to me, I will give you more. وَلَإِن كَفَرْتُمْ فَإِنَّ عَذَابِي لَشَدِيدٌ. But if you are unthankful, then my punishment is severe. Imam Hussain says, I did not manage to thank you the way I should, yet you did not remove all these blessings that you gave to me. This is the way that Imam Hussain builds up a relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But he also has a relationship with people. So remember, who was the adopted son again? Who was the adopted son of Rasulullah? Zayd. Good. Zayd bin Haritha. Zayd was the adopted son of Rasulullah. He died during the lifetime of Rasulullah. But he left a son called Usama. So Usama, if Zayd was raised as the son of Rasulullah, then Usama was raised as the grandson of Rasulullah. Oh, clear? We don't hear these things often, but it is important that we know them. When Rasulullah is on his deathbed, he sends many of the Sahaba away from Medina. He says, I want you to leave with Usama to go towards Jordan. He wants them out of the way, to fight the Byzantines, to fight the Romans. I want you to go and fight the Romans over there. I don't want you to remain here. They refuse to leave, and there's a whole story behind that. One of the reasons they say is because Usama is a young man. Usama at that time was 18 years old. They say that Usama is a young man, and we don't want to. How should we follow a young man when he leads us into battle? Whatever it might be. Usama bin Zayd does not initially support Imam Ali. So although he has Imam Ali in one way is his cousin or his uncle, he does not initially support Imam Ali. So between the Zaydi line, not Zayd, son of Imam Sajjad, the Zaydi line of Usama bin Zayd, the Zayd son of the adopted son of Rasulullah, between the Zaydi line and the Alawi line, there is a disagreement. They don't always get along with each other. During the lifetime of Imam Hussain, Usama is on his deathbed. As Imam Hussain goes to visit him, he says that Usama is troubled. So he says to Usama, Usama, what troubles you? He says, I have a large debt. During my life, I've incurred a large debt. And I'm dying, I know I will not be able to repay it. This bothers me because as Muslims, we are told that we need to make sure we don't leave this world with debt. If we have debts to someone, we need to make sure that we settle it as soon as possible. So he says, this bothers me. What if I die and the debt is not settled? Imam Hussain asks for the sum, says 60,000 dirham, silver coin, 60,000. Imam Hussain says, I will take care of it. Don't worry. So remember, they don't get along. Imam Hussain says, I'll take care of it. Usama is still, you find him anxious, he's agitated. So Imam says, what is the problem? He says, I fear that I will die and it has not yet been settled. Imam Hussain says, I will settle it for you immediately. And Imam Hussain makes sure it is settled before Usama dies. Showing what? That the tranquil soul is not interested in what you do to him personally. Imam Hussain being nafsul mutma'inna, he's not interested in, oh, you bothered me personally, you did something wrong to me personally, or you did something wrong to my father. No, he's looking at, you have a right over us. If I can help you, I will help you. Another incident from the life of Imam Hussain, when it comes to speaking about rights. There is a narration of how Walid, so remember Walid bin Utbah, the governor of Medina, who calls Imam Hussain to the governor's residence after the death of Muawiyah to take the bay'ah for Yazid. Walid bin Utbah as governor of Muawiyah, so this is long before the death of Muawiyah, as governor of Muawiyah, he has property adjacent to the property of Imam Hussain. And using his political power, he tries to claim the property of Imam Hussain as well. He says, look, my property is here. Who? You said the line goes, no, the line goes here. This is also my property. For example, so Imam Hussain, he tries to discuss with him, argue with him. As this discussions leads nowhere, Imam Hussain goes into the mosque and he says that I will be given my right, or I will call for Hilf al-Fudul. Now what is Hilf al-Fudul? During the time of Rasulullah, before he became a prophet, a Yemeni man once came to Mecca. As he sold something to one of the elites of Quraysh, they agreed upon a price. Later on, the elite of Quraysh, he refused to pay. So the Yemeni man, he went up on one of the mountains of Mecca and he called. He said that I sold something to a man of Quraysh, now he refuses to give me the price. He is not giving me the full value. Now, this Yemeni man had no tribal alliance. So for all he cared, he could have gone onto the mountain and screamed for 1,000 days and no one would care. But as soon as he did that, first of them, Zubayr, the uncle of Rasulullah. Okay, Zuhair, uncle of Rasulullah. Zubayr, uncle of Rasulullah. He comes there. Sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. I'm getting the name wrong, but one of the uncles of Rasulullah, he comes there, he's the first, he says, I will defend the right of this person. Rasulullah joins him. Other tribes or other leaders of the other tribes join them and they defend the right of this Yemeni man, and then they decide that whosoever comes to Mecca without a allegiance, without a tribal allegiance to protect him, we will protect him. And this is called Hilf al-Fudul, the oath of fragrance. These people, they agree that anyone who comes, there's no law, there's no police, you can't go to the police, you can't go and sue someone. So they say, we will defend the right of the weak ones. Rasulullah later on, after Islam, he says, during the time of Jahiliyyah, I was called towards something that if I am called towards that again, I will accept. Meaning, Hilf al-Fudul. I will come to that. So Imam Hussain, he says, I am now summoning the right of Hilf al-Fudul. That thing that Rasulullah had called, I will summon it. And people in Medina, they came to Imam Hussain and they said, if you summon Hilf al-Fudul, we will support your right. We will be there for you. One last thing I want to mention about Imam Hussein's stand against the Umayyads before we go to the end of the majlis. Muawiyah at one point writes a letter to Imam Hussain saying that, you are always speaking against us. You are telling people that we are evil, we are bad. You are creating disunity in this ummah. So Imam Hussain writes a letter in reply. This is what he writes. Alastaqatila Hujar ibn Adi akhi kinda. Are you not the one, Imam Hussain writes this to Muawiyah, are you not the one who killed Hajar bin Adi of Kinda, وَالْمُصَلِّينَ الْعَابِدِينَ الَّذِينَ كَانُوا يُنْكَرُونَ الظُّلْمَ, and those praying, worshipping people that refused your dhulm, your oppression? Are you not the very same person who killed them? Hajar bin Adi was one of the companions of Imam Ali who would stand up even after Muawiyah becomes governor or Khalifa. They would stand up when the governor would do la'an upon Amir al-Mu'mineen. They would stand up in the khutbah and complain, why are you doing la'an upon Amir al-Mu'mineen? Are you not the one who had them killed? Imam Hussain writes to Muawiyah. One of the things about Muawiyah, there is a divided opinion amongst Muslims again about Muawiyah. Was Muawiyah good? Was Muawiyah evil? There is a riwayah in Sahih Bukhari. I don't want to go through the whole thing, but the riwayah says that Ammar will be killed by Fi'atun Baghiyah. Ammar will be killed by a rebellious group. And some people say that that's it. Why do you make a big deal of this? But that hadith says that Ammar will be calling them towards paradise and they will be calling Ammar towards hellfire. And that group that killed Ammar was indeed Muawiyah. Muawiyah and his group killed Ammar. When Muawiyah's army had Ammar killed, this hadith was so famous that people in Muawiyah's army, they started to say, we killed Ammar. We must be on the wrong. We killed Ammar. So Muawiyah says, no. We did not kill Ammar. Imam Ali, he brought Ammar to the battlefield, he killed Ammar. He is responsible for the killing of Ammar. When Imam Ali hears this, he says, if that is the case, then his mother, Hind, is not responsible. No, he said, well, the Quraysh is not responsible, Abu Sufyan is not responsible for killing Hamza, rather Rasulullah would be responsible for killing Hamza, because Rasulullah brought Hamza to the battlefield. So this Muawiyah killing companions of Rasulullah, whether it be on the battlefield or afterwards killing companions of Amirul Mu'mineen. وَقُلْتَ فِيمَا قُلْتَ, and you said amongst the things you said, انظر لنفسك ولدينك ولأمة محمد واتق الشق عسى هذه الأمة وأن تردهم إلى فتنة. You wrote to me and you said that watch careful the matters of this ummah, of the religion of Rasulullah. Watch careful about the Muslims, that you, Hussain, you don't become the cause of this ummah returning to fitna. وَإِنِّي لَا أَعْلَمُ فِتْنَةً أَعْظَمَ عَلَى هَذِهِ الْأُمَّةِ مِنْ وِلَايَتِكَ عَلَيْهَا. Imam Hussain writes to Muawiyah, I don't know of any fitna that is worse for this ummah than you being a ruler over it. So Imam Hussein's beef, so to say, is not only with Yazid, it is with Muawiyah as well. This is very clear from history. Imam Hussain was against these people. And that is why they were very careful. They wanted to make sure that Hussain is not fighting against them, that Hussain is not standing up against them, that Hussain gives them that bay'ah. Muawiyah tried to get bay'ah for Yazid from Imam Hussain during his lifetime. As he refused, Yazid then tried to get that bay'ah immediately after the death of Muawiyah. Yesterday we mentioned that Imam Hussain had to leave Medina because of this. He comes to Mecca. He spends a few months in Mecca. As the letters of Kufa start arriving, he sends Muslim ibn Aqil to Kufa, saying that go and see the situation. I want to know if they mean what they're saying. They say they want us to come there. Do they really mean it? As Muslim ibn Aqil sends a letter to Imam Hussain that people are ready to accept you, Imam Hussain decides that I will leave towards Kufa. But he had made the intention for Hajj. On the day that the Hujjaj starts moving out from Mecca to go towards Arafah, Imam Hussain makes the niyyah of leaving Hajj on the 8th of Dhul Hijjah. He leaves Mecca and starts traveling towards Kufa. On the road, he meets Farazdaq, who is a poet of the Arabs, famous poet. He says, what is the situation in Kufa? He says, قُلُوبُهُمْ مَعَكْ, their hearts are with you, وَسُيُوفُهُمْ عَلَيْكَ, but their swords are against you. Imam Hussain continues the journey. At one point he sees another group coming from Kufa. He says, where are you from? They say from Kufa. He says, what news do you bring from Kufa? They say, we would rather tell you privately, because Imam Hussain was with his companions. He says, whatever you need to tell me, you tell me in front of these people. Whatever you want to tell me in front of the people. So the people of Kufa, they say that when we left, we saw that Muslim ibn Aqil had been killed and his body was falling down from the residence of the governor. Imam Hussain says, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un, but he continues. He continues towards Kufa until he comes to a point where Hurr ibn Yazid al-Riyahi comes with an army to stop Imam Hussain. As the army is approaching from far away, people don't recognize, they don't see that it's an army. Some people, they see something that looks like palms, that looks like date palms. So they say Allahu Akbar, they think they come to a place where there are people living. Someone says, why are you saying Allahu Akbar? They say, we see these date palms, and the people who know the area, they say there are no date palms here. So they realize an army is coming. So they say, let's prepare, let's be prepared. If they come to attack us, we are prepared. They stand in the lines, prepared to meet the army. As Hurr comes with an army of 1,000 people, of 1,000 soldiers, he tells Imam Hussain, I've come to stop you. As they come there, Imam Hussain sees that Hurr and the army of Hurr, that they are thirsty. Imam Hussain does not initiate battle. He says, you are thirsty, let me give you water. So whatever water, remember Imam Hussein's following is not that many. They are maybe 100, 150, maybe 200. Allahu Alam how many they are at that point. But they are not 1,000 people. There are few people. Imam Hussain says, whatever water we have. Can you imagine that sacrifice he's making? At that point, these people came to stop me, but I will give them water. One of the soldiers, he reports, I was so thirsty that I couldn't hold my hands straight. I was shaking, and the water would fall out. So Hussain himself came to me and he gave water to me in my mouth. Ya ayyatuha an-nafsul mutma'inna. This is the tranquil soul. He doesn't look at these people as enemies. He says, you are a human being, you have the dignity of a human being, I will take care of you. You are thirsty, your horse is thirsty, I will take care of you. Hur says that you will not be allowed to go towards Kufa. Imam says, then let's take another path. At one point, Hur, he grabs the horse of Imam Hussain. And as he grabs the horse of Imam Hussain, Hussain says, ثَقَلَتْكَ أُمَّكَ. May your mother cry over your Hur. Hur looks towards Hussain and he says, Hussain, had anyone amongst the Arabs said anything like this to me, I would have replied likewise. But Hussain, your mother is Fatima. How can I say anything about Fatima? So Hur has this recognition. He knows who he's talking to. And we'll come back to that in another evening, inshallah. They start traveling and a letter comes from Ubaidullah to Hur saying that wherever you are, stop Hussain in a place where there is no water. As Hussain is traveling along, he comes to a place where his horse stops. When the horse stops, Imam Hussain says, what is... Please send, some riwayah says first he asks for another horse. He changes horse, but when the horse refuses to move, he says, I want to know the name of this place. So he's told this place is called Ghadariya. He says there has to be another name. He says this name is called Taf. He says there has to be another name. So he's told this place is called Nainawa. He says there has to be another name. As he keeps on asking, finally someone says, there is an old name for this place called Karbala. He says, indeed, this is the place of Karbin wa Bala. This is the place where we will be tried. This is the place where we will be tested. This is the place where our children will be killed. This is the place where our tents will be burnt and our ladies will be taken captives. As Imam Hussain says this, one narration says Lady Zainab comes to Imam Hussain or asks for Imam Hussain to come. She says, my brother Hussain, since we came to this place, I feel uneasy in my heart. Hussain, what is this place? Let us hurry from here. I don't want to remain here, Hussain. Hussain says, Sister Zainab, this is the place we have to remain in. I will say, oh Zainab, if your heart is at unrest right now, what will be the situation in a week's time when you stand on the till of Zainabiyah and you look upon Hussain surrounded by men, when Umar ibn Sa'ad is looking on from one side and Shimr is approaching Abu Abdullah from another side, when you say to them, is there not a single Muslim man amongst you? When you plead for the life of Abu Abdullah and Shimr approaches Hussain, وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون. يا الله يا الله يا الله يا رحمن يا رحيم يا مقلب القلوب بحق فاطمة وأبيها وبعلها وبنيها والسر المستودع فيها. Oh Allah, we ask you that you forgive us for our sins, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, we ask you that you keep us on the path of Muhammad and Al Muhammad, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, we ask you for the safety of the Muslimin and the Mu'mineen all around the world, Ya Allah, and all the oppressed people around the world, Ya Allah. Especially, Ya Allah, for the people of Gaza, for the people of Lebanon, for the people of Afghanistan, for the people of Pakistan, all over the world where Muslims are suffering, Ya Allah. Allah, remove the suffering and oppression, and remove suffering and oppression from all the oppressed people, Ya Allah. We ask you for the sake of Muhammad and Al Muhammad, Ya Allah, hasten the appearance of Imam al-Hujjah and join us with his closest associates. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillah rabbil alameen. Matam ya Hussain.
Ya Hussain.